Today on Robert's Guitar Dungeon, we're going to talk about the 6 things that the Gibson Guitar Company still does right. Last week I posted a video talking about the 7 things that the Gibson Guitar Company does extremely wrong. I thought in the interest of fairness, I would talk about 6 things that they still do very, very well. So let's get to it. Number 6, pickups. We have to give Gibson credit where credit is due. They designed the humbucker. Without the humbucker, the music industry as we know it today might not have ever been achieved. Vintage PAF humbuckers from the 1950s and early 60s go for thousands of dollars on the used market, and the pickups that they use in their current line are all stellar electronics. From the 57 Classics to the Burst Buckler series to the Super Ceramics, they have a pretty stout list of solid pickups that work very well in just about any guitar out there. The 496R and 500T Super Ceramic humbucker set that comes stock in most Flying V's and Explorers are among some of my favorite guitar pickups on the market today. I also very much would like to try one of the Dirty Fingers Plus pickups that came out for the first time in the Government Series guitars that were released in 2012, I believe. Number 5, Epiphone. Epiphone has been under Gibson's ownership since 1957. Despite the quality control and consistency issues with Gibson's USA line, most Epiphone owners seem to be very, very pleased with their purchases, as most Epiphone guitars seem to be manufactured very consistently, having very few flaws to speak of. Most are made with polyurethane finishes, which is extremely durable. They look great, they seem to be built well, and while I personally am not crazy about the import electronics that they install in those guitars, many people seem to be very, very happy with them. I mentioned in my last video that Gibson's most popular new release seems to be the Epiphone Les Paul SL, which is an entry-level Les Paul Jr. model with 2 single coil pickups and a bolt-on neck. All the reviews on that guitar seem to be fantastic. It comes in a wide variety of unique finishes and seems to be built very, very well. Despite the rising cost of Gibson USA-made instruments, the Epiphone product line seems to have maintained a very, very affordable price point that is well within reach for most guitar players. Number 4, artist signature models. The Angus Young, the Lizzie Hale, the Chad Kroeger, Jason Hook, and of course the legendary Slash seems to come out with a new version of his signature Les Paul about every other year. Despite the recent comments made by Mastodon guitarist and former Gibson endorser Bill Kelleher, Gibson seems to take very seriously the quality of their artist endorsed signature models. Most of the artist signature models I have played, like the ones that I just mentioned, as well as many others like the Buckethead Les Paul, were all constructed with very close attention to detail and played and sounded phenomenally, just as the customer would expect them to. I do not remember the last time I played a Gibson artist signature model guitar of any kind that had any noticeable flaws in it whatsoever. Number 3, colors and finishes. Hats off to Gibson for this. The Heritage Cherry Sunburst, of course, is one of the most legendary guitar finishes on the planet. They continue to come out with more new and unique finishes every single year that continue to impress even the most seasoned guitar players out there, as these are colors and guitar finishes that nobody has ever seen before. One of my personal favorite guitar finishes of all time is the very rare and hard to find Cobra Burst finish that I've only seen on just a handful of guitars in my lifetime. Gibson really does continue to work hard on their finishes, and regardless of any other construction and build quality flaws that they may have, all of their guitars are absolutely stunningly beautiful to look at. Number 2, extremely loyal customer base. There are plenty of Gibson customers out there that, regardless of what Gibson does wrong and how bad a guitar might be, these loyal Gibson customers absolutely insist on looking the other way, because to them, Gibson is the greatest guitar company on the planet and always has been. There are still a large contingent of people out there that feel Gibson can do no wrong and is still the greatest guitar company on the planet and will continue to buy their products regardless of how much it might cost or anything else. Building a customer base with that kind of loyalty, especially in today's crowded market, is not an easy thing to do. Number 1, the custom shop. You ever thought to yourself, it's too bad you can't buy a Gibson today like what was built back in the 1950s and 1960s? Well, the truth is you can. It's called the Gibson Custom Shop. The Gibson Custom Shop still uses all of the original machines and equipment that they were using back in the 1950s and 1960s. That's correct. All of the machines and equipment that built the legendary 58 Explorer, the 59 Les Paul, and many, many others. So the answer to the question, do they still make them like they used to? The answer is yes, the custom shop does. Think about it, when was the last time you got your hands on a Gibson custom shop guitar that had absolutely anything wrong with it? The custom shop pays extremely close attention to detail to every single product that is produced out of that factory. They might be pricey, but you don't buy a guitar that says custom shop on it from a factory named the custom shop expecting to save a few bucks. If there's one thing left that Gibson still does very, very well, their custom shop is still among the very best in the world. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. Please leave me your comments down below. Let me know what you still love about the Gibson Guitar Company. Any and all applicable links will be down in the description. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel. I post new videos every Wednesday and Saturday morning. And thank you so much for watching. If you're watching this video, most likely you're a musician. Most musicians were inspired by an event at some point in their lives to want to play music. However, what if that event still occurred, but you had no means of your own to acquire your own instrument? There are thousands of people in your own community that would love to get involved in music, but do not have the means to afford their own instrument. Please donate your broken or unwanted gear to my friends at Share the Music, where Share the Music will take those instruments, refurbish them, and give them to somebody just like us and help change their lives for the better.